Hi, everyone. Okay, I'm live. I'll pre-warn you now, I've got crazy animals today. So you're going to hear random snuffly noises from my chihuahua because she's decided that she wants to be having a mega cuddle right now as I'm going live. So she's, yeah, basically snuggling, and you're going to hear those weird noises. There also seems to be a lot of traffic going past all of a sudden. So, admittedly, it is lunchtime here, so I guess that's probably part of it. But normally, that's not a huge issue. Um, my cat, for now, has gone and is hopefully having a nap, but she's been zooming around the house, making a racket, and just being crazy. So, yeah, just be prepared for added sound effects while I'm live. Okay. Thank you so much for coming, everyone. So, I'm just wondering, can you hear Amira snoring at the moment? I apologise, I can't control my dog snoring. Um, okay, I'm not going to drop a link for people to come up on panel. I have Shan, Ara. There's a link in Discord if one of you guys wants to come up that way. Melissa, welcome. Thank you for taking a membership. Okay, yeah. So there's a link in Discord for you, Shan or Ara, or if Crane or Lala want to come up. But at this point in time, while I'm still kind of getting the feel of doing live streams, I just want to try and keep it minimal. So I thought today that I wanted to go. Yeah, my dog is snoring. And because she's a chihuahua, she makes a lot of noise when she snores. She's got that little doggy snout that, yeah, makes her sound, yeah, quite loud. The other dog's asleep beside me, but hopefully she won't start going with her really bad snoring, because when she gets going, she's a shocker as well. Okay, God, my squirrels are loose today completely. So, yeah, I wanted to go back to what I started talking about with my drive chat yesterday, talking about all the added characters that appeared in Kiely's case. There's so many extras, and still talking about the teens at this point in time. So the point that I made at the end of my drive chat was that we heard from all Kiely's friends, but we only heard from Sammy. Sure, we heard from Elsa, but as an anonymous person who didn't say that she was connected with Sammy. And I'm not sure which one that was, whether that was the Jane Doe 1 or 2. I'll have to get someone to clarify that for me. But what about this JC friend of Sammy's? Like, she's supposed to be Sammy's best friend, right? And such a close friend that when you look at the family photo, she's there in the family photo. And yet Sammy's saying that, her and Kiely were this little pair hanging around together all night, making it sound like it was just her and Kiely, except then you get the whole talking about them being in the car, and then there is that reference to other people being in the car. So what's the story there? Like, Sammy organised the party. She's like, the queen of the party. She's the queen of socialization. So what happened? You can't tell me that her friends weren't there with her. That just doesn't make any sense whatsoever. I don't know. It seems weird. So why did we not hear anything about Sammy's friends? And why are we supposed to believe that Sammy was hanging around in a little pair with Kylie all night? Like, have a look at the photos of Sammy with all her partying friends. Do you see her partying with just one person? It doesn't happen. I don't know if she's a soccer player. I know very little about it. This is where it would be great if Shan could come up, because Shan knows a lot more about these other add-ons than I do. It's possible that, having finished her live, that she may not have dropped back in yet. I'm not sure. But I know that Jackie or JC or whatever her name is, I gather that her and Sammy did pretty much everything together. So, was she at the party? Presumably, yes. And what about all the boys that Sammy is always hanging around with? I mean, why? Yeah. Yeah, I hope Shan will come up. Like I said, she was live for ages before. Like, I woke up early this morning and she was live, and I had breakfast and she was still live, and then I dashed out and got stuff and came back and she was still live. So yeah, it's possible that she's taking a bit of Shan time at the moment, but hopefully she can come up, because she's the expert on all these things. I really didn't dig too much into all these teens. I've mostly focused on Sammy and things that have been said by our friend, the Truckee Local. But you're being a mum whilst listening. Okay. Maybe I can convince Ara to come up if she's still here. Yeah, I've just finished redoing the audio for the Jane Doe, because I can't stand that gravelly altered sound. So I think she said something about being at a golf tournament, the first Jane Doe. I haven't actually listened through it all, but yeah, I think she said something about a golf tournament, being at a golf tournament with a friend or something. I'm not sure if that was the first Jane Doe was Elsa, or if the second Jane Doe was Elsa. I haven't properly looked at them. I've just kind of, like I said, I've grabbed the audio for the first one so I can do a video on it. But that's as far as I've got. So yeah, going back to Sammy's friends, we've seen those boys. None of those boys have come forward and said anything about the party. But given how much they were hanging around Sammy at the presses, surely they were hanging around Sammy at the party too. I mean, that's a given, isn't it? So, how are we supposed to believe that Sammy just hung around with Kylie all night and that's it? Oh, great. I've left the back door open so the cat will entertain herself, and now we have a fly in the house, which the Chihuahua wants to try and catch while still on my lap. This could get interesting. We'll wait and see. So, I'm not going to talk much about the junior hamburger, because, well, I don't want my first or my second live stream to just suddenly have technical issues. And I think it seems like the moment you start talking about hamburgers, that's when things start going really wrong. But I would like to know if the hamburger was at the party. I mean, I think we'd all like to know if the hamburger was at the party. And if so, was he still going out with Kylie? Were they broken up? was he just hanging out with the boys? And here's the thing about hanging out with the boys. And I know this is going to make me unpopular, but it's got to be said. Sammy grew up a few doors down from Daisy's boyfriend. And we have, according to the Truckee Local, we know that they all used to hang out together. I apologise now. I don't know if you can hear it, but my neighbour is hammering really loudly on the side of their house. Yep, good work. Okay, I don't know how well this live stream is going to go, because I get distracted really easily. And right now, like I said, my neighbour is just banging on the side of their house. They're doing some major renovations. So this is par for the course. And of course, being Easter week, people finish work earlier in the week than usual. So, yeah. I'm just trying to read some comments here. Really should make a point of actually grabbing my glasses when I go live, so that I can actually try and read comments properly rather than just fuzzy, blurry comments. So, you can't hear the banging? Oh, that's a relief. I'll try and tune it out. Amira's awake, so she stopped snoring, but Tarka's started snoring. As you can tell, I've got squirrels. I've got ADHD, so I have days when my squirrels are running loose. And right now I have a chihuahua snuggled up in my arms, and she was asleep, but now she's awake, just taking in everything. Another dog lying beside me, starting to work up her snore. So, yeah, I will get distracted frequently. Yeah, Wendy, I think you're right. I think the boys were at the party. And if they were at the party, I'm going to speculate that they were definitely hanging around with Sammy. So, CB, your dog's snoring. That's cool. Yeah, Amira's stopped, but Tarka's snoring. But at the moment, she hasn't got into the really deep, big dog snore. So, and touch wood, she might be far enough away that when she does get into the big snoring, you won't hear it. Yeah, those boys definitely hanging around with Sammy at the party, in my opinion. And that's what makes that interesting, is that when you go back through the various accounts of people who think that they saw Kiely at the party or leave the party or whatever, there was one specific account where someone said that they thought they saw Kiely leave the party at a specific time with two boys in her car. So that would actually fit. If someone saw Sammy leave the party in Kiely's car with some of those boys that she hangs out with, I would personally think maybe 3 boys, but then there's 2 that definitely were hanging around pretty close at the time. So, yeah, if I'm going to be thorough, I do need to talk about some of these other kids that we're not supposed to talk about. So, Daisy's boyfriend, he was friends with Sammy. He lived near Sammy, and apparently they all used to hang out together. And there's been accounts that said he was at the party. And the only person who's adamant that he wasn't at the party is, well, we know who. So that then begs the question, if he was at the party, was Daisy there with him? I know there was the talk about her being at a concert, but that turned out to be a week later. There's a photo of her at their new house that they were living at in, I think it was Boise or wherever it was, that was taken a week or so before the party. But at the same time, Daisy's mother told us that it was not uncommon for Daisy to come back to town when there were events on. So she'd come back to town for the rodeo. And to me, if your apparently best friend is organising and running a party, then wouldn't that be enough of a reason to come back to town for that? I don't know. I'm not going to dwell too much on that one. I will move on. But back to, are you right, Amira? Sorry, doggy problems. Back to the boys. Sammy's crew. Here's the thing. Sammy's crew also includes the hamburger. And we know that he went to a different school at one point in time with Braden Cole. And they were all close friends as well. So I have to ask if Braden Cole was there. And I know this is going to upset Megan for me to ask it, but someone's got to ask it. It's got to be spoken about. I'll try not to dwell on it too much. But supposedly, if we are to presume that the boys that are always hanging around with Sammy and are always doing everything with Sammy, if they went to the party and if the hamburger went to the party and they're all mates with Braden, why would he then decide that he was just going to go and sit at home and play video games all night? Just my question. Yeah, Gateway. I thought Gateway was another school or something, but yeah, sorry, I don't know. Was it? It must. Yeah, it would be in question if she hadn't given multiple stories, and that is the problem. You know, we would have looked past a lot of that, except that we've been given so many different stories that you reach the point where you just don't know what you can figure out because there's so many contradictions, so many slip ups that make you think, well, okay, maybe he was there. On the board, like on the board of directors. So Gateway has a lot of hamburger connections. Interesting, very interesting. So we know that Braden has connections with all these boys, all these party boys. So that's where I'm questioning if he didn't go to the party, why not? We've certainly seen examples of his mother's parenting where she's been on a live stream and he's been headed out and she's just been like, oh, where are you going? And he's like, I'm going such and such. She hasn't stopped him from going out drinking with his mates or doing stuff with his mates. And she's actually spoken in the past about her having had issues with him going out and drinking with his mates. So I don't know. I definitely question of the boys, all the boys that hung around Sammy. Why have we heard nothing of them? And are we really going to believe that they weren't hanging around with Sammy at the party also? And that Sammy, Miss Social Butterfly, really did spend the entire night hanging out with Kiely, joined at the hips, and they were like a little pair. Because to me, it just really doesn't sound remotely likely at all. Anyway, I'm going to move on from talking about the teens and the young adults because I also wanted to cover some of the people that randomly appeared in the case and just give my thoughts on them or share my confusion on them. Yes, Shan, I'd like to know too what that Jackie was doing that night, because no one asks about her, no one talks about her, and like I said, she was in a family photo with Sammy, so it just seems weird. You would expect that they were together that night. Like I said, if your best friend's organising the party, wouldn't you want to show support for your best friend and be there at the party? Just my question. Why is Sammy so popular with the boys? JC. Aha, cool. Thanks, Shan. So it's pronounced JC. Thank you. I've been pronouncing it multiple different ways. And I think I know you've said JC in the past. I should remember that. But it's really distracting when you have a dog sitting next to you, expecting you to give her lots of rubs and you're trying to talk and concentrate at the same time. Yeah, she was at the presser. And so was the hamburger at the presser. And yeah, what CB is saying, I think the reason that Sammy has more boy friends than girlfriends is it's that kind of manipulating, kind of narcissistic female personality that tends not to attract a lot of female friendships. Not a lot of close ones anyway. They get along better with boys because the boys will follow them. The boys will be their followers. That's just aggressive. She's got an aggressive personality, and those sorts of personalities quite often are the people who have lots of male friends and not so many female friends because, well, girls just don't put up with that sort of shit, basically. Yeah, CB, she could be a beautiful girl if it wasn't for her personality. And I think personalities really do affect how someone looks. You know, you can see someone who you would look at them and you would think that they should be a stunner, but there's just some aura about them, a negative aura, and it just changes the way they look. But anyway, so I'm going to move on from the teens for a little bit. And I want to question about Ronnie because, oh my gosh, what is the whole red flag Ronnie deal? I didn't listen to a lot of the later stuff. So I did listen to Icked Mel for the first probably maybe week that Kiely was missing. That was before I went off Icked Mel. We all know the reasons why many of us went off Icked Mel. We're not going to go into that. But I actually haven't listened to him since Kiely's case. I do go back for reference to some of his Kiely stuff, but I really haven't listened to him since Kiely's case. But I did listen to a lot of his early content. So with Icked Mel, that red flag Ronnie, like I found it amusing that straight after the first time that red flag Ronnie rang in, that someone rang in straight after and basically said to Icked Mel, that guy is so full of bullshit. And he was. It didn't make sense. The stuff he was saying didn't make any sense whatsoever when you think about it. And him speaking about it, trying to say that his cousins were there, but then the way he was talking about the party was like he had experienced it himself, which none of it rang true to me from the very, very start. And then you get him coming back and saying more stuff, and then you get him with this whole stuff going on with Ryan, and Ryan calls him out, and all of a sudden we've got what, 3 Ronnies? None of it makes sense to me whatsoever. Yeah, look, I mean, I'm trying to read people's comments here, and I apologise, but I'm weighed down by a chihuahua, so I can't go and get my reading glasses, and so it makes it really hard to actually try and read chat. Red flags. One, that his cousins were at the party watching Kiely, but he speaks from first person. Yep, exactly, Shan. And he has both dark people's skin and white people's skin. Did you see? I think it was Zavgirl when he went to the search party and showed him driving, and Zavgirl was convinced that he had a white leg. It's, yeah. Just none of it made sense. He was a bad attempt at inserting someone into the case, I think, and I think it all went pear-shaped. And I don't know if it was him trying to insert himself or someone getting him to insert himself, and I don't know if it was intended to try and give Sammy another excuse, but it was just crazy. I think, he would have been better off not ringing back after that first time that he rang Icked Mel and just shutting his mouth, because, well, for starters, he had no credibility in the first place. And talking about his cousins as being these older people that were there and talking about all the drugs and stuff. I mean, people have made comments before about when they went to parties like that, and they've said, look, there were drugs at the parties, and there were kegs and stuff like that. But just the way he was inserting himself, the way he was talking, was just, it really sounded to me like someone just trying to create more of a story, possibly to try and give Sammy more of an alibi, or just to insert themselves. Who knows? Yeah, I know, it's crazy. I really can't wrap myself all this time later, and I still can't wrap my head around Red Flag Ronnie. I just can't figure out the motivation for him contacting Icked Mel, or the goal. Because if it was an attempt to try and give Sammy more of an alibi or whatever, or, back up Sammy's stories, it didn't work. And then they send in the 2 Jane Does, and that didn't really work either. There were some interesting things said, and I haven't listened to them in ages, so I can't remember. And like I said, I will go back and cover them separately. But it just seems like there's this string of people that they've tried to insert in the case, but they all completely lacked credibility. Yeah, Jazz, he probably was a co-conspirator. I think you're right. I think, one of the Ronnies, because there seemed to be multiple ones of them, I think if it was possible to actually find out Ronnie's true identity, then you would be able to link him probably back to Sammy Smith. That's what I think, anyway. Um, it just it just came out of nowhere. It was just really weird ass. And then you've got SF investigates. And I think one thing that a lot of people might not remember or realize, but if you were on Twitter when the Gabby Petito case was going, you may have seen all the hoopla that was going on between SF and Nerdy Addict. Nerdy Addict was, or he's still on Twitter, and I think he did do a few things on YouTube. He was the one that flew a drone over the Laundrie's house when I think it was after Gabby had been found and Brian was still missing. And Nerdy Addict went with a drone and he flew it over the Petito's house. And there was that whole bullshit about the hand in the garden. I'm not going to go there, but if you were one of Grizzly True Crime's early subs, you probably know what I'm talking about. And there was a whole heap of hoo-ha then between SF and Nerdy Addict. And he proved himself back then, even before Kiely's case, as being just this baby boy who doesn't like being called out. If anyone questioned him or commented to him on Twitter, he'd block them. And people used to laugh about being blocked by him because his blocked list on Twitter must be like a mile long. So he inserts himself into cases. I don't know if he genuinely did convince Kiely's grandparents or father that he was going to do good stuff for them and help out, but in my opinion, he's a proven liar. He lied, and I can't even think of examples right now, but I can remember that Nerdy Addict basically proved him out as a liar in relation to the Gabby Petito case, and all he is, in my opinion, is someone who likes to feel important, likes to pretend that they are far more important than they are, and who basically just jumps in and makes up bullshit completely. I'm just trying to read comments here again. Oh wow, Plunder has dropped a bunch of new body cam footage from Gabby's case. The female parks ranger, that would be really cool to see. I'd love to go and see. I'd love to have a look at that, because I think that conversation between Gabby and the female parks ranger was definitely something that would be worth checking out. I think that would be quite telling. I think it could also be quite incriminating as far as the Moab police as well, in terms of they really screwed up there with that case so badly. But yeah. And I've got distracted again. I actually haven't looked at a lot of Gabby Petito stuff in so long. But that was kind of my first venture into the world of true crime. Before that came along, I'd been watching a lot of stuff like Kindle Ray and that, but I hadn't watched any live streams. And then I stumbled onto Grizzly, and she was this brand new little channel, and I watched all her Gabby Petito footage, and well, now look where I am now. So, um, so Jazz, only parts of the body cam footage. That's disappointing. Um, they've probably edited out some of the more important stuff, but I'd imagine that might become available like further down the track. Are the parents still doing their civil suit against Moab? Because if that's the case, perhaps after that civil suit has happened, then there might be more footage that comes out. Be really interesting to see. I'll definitely have to go and check out Plunder later on and see if there's anything worthwhile in that footage. I think there probably would be. You still think he was responsible for the double homicide 2 days later? Was anyone ever charged for that double homicide, Jazz? Because that was really, really weird. Like, they were there before those girls went missing. And then you've got him taking a mad flight back home. And I know that also connects in with when they were pulled over in Moab. But the timing is all just really, really insane. And there's just something about that double homicide that just is really, really weird. And to me, yeah, whether or not it's been adequately resolved is a really good question. Sorry, got distracted talking about Gabby Petito case. But so was he actually charged, this Adam P? Was he charged with relation to the Moab case? Or has there been a trial? I actually haven't followed any of that because I actually, after Kiely went missing, after they found her, it took me ages to start focusing back on other cases. And even now, I still look at other cases and I don't get as absorbed in them as what I used to do, because I always kept coming back to Kiely's case. So, and even with Gabby's case, even though I was so totally absorbed with that at the time, um, I've just kind of reached a point where Kiely takes precedence for me. Like, I'll listen to a bit of stuff here and there, and if Harsh Reality talks about stuff, I'll listen to what he has to say. But I just don't seem to have a mind for going deep into other cases at the moment. I seem to just still have this really strong focus on Kiely. It was announced the day before the Idaho 4 arrest. The Adam P guy was announced the day before the Idaho arrest. It's interesting. It's all really, really interesting timing. All that. Curious. Anyway, so going back to SF Investigates, I think he's just the most fake person on the planet. I think any of the information that he claims to have had from FBI has sorry. I was trying to read Harsh's comment. Okay, sorry. Um, you have trouble getting other cases as well. I know, and it's 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 funny because like when when I was following other cases, I could be absorbed in them and still look at other cases. But there's something about Kylie where I still, that is my main focus. And I can look at other cases, and you've seen where I've made comments. I've done a few little videos here and there to do with other cases, but I just don't really sink my teeth into them. And it's like my brain just automatically goes straight back to Kylie's case. Um, I mean, I really, really got into the Madeline Soto case, but after the guy was arrested, I didn't have the desire to keep digging into all the other stuff around it. And I felt like, well, there's plenty of people that are covering that case really well. And I just didn't feel as motivated to do it and create content about it as what I do with Kylie. Um, I don't know why. I don't know why Kylie has grabbed us all so much and why we've all just become so stuck. I wouldn't say stuck on Kylie's case, but you know what I mean. We're just so. It's more than just an interest in a case, and it's more than just being absorbed in a case. There's just something about Kylie that's just dragged us in. And I don't know what it is or why. SF seems like he could be involved in the Nickelodeon nightmare type of crap, in my honest opinion. I think you are correct, Justice. Or Jazz. Yeah. He just, look, he tries to insert himself in everything. He got upset when Adventures with Purpose came out as the heroes in the case. And he doesn't know how to be a decent player. He's got no idea how to be a decent player. He tried so hard to discredit Adventures with Purpose. Um, tried so hard to make them look bad, and he just made himself look like a jerk. He just, yeah, I think. And then Shan was saying yesterday, I think, was it on Shan's live yesterday, where she was saying that he was trying to say that he was the investigator in Kylie's case. Like, seriously, SF? No, you weren't the investigator in Kylie's case. You didn't even have a license in California at that point in time. You openly admitted that you didn't have a license in California at that point in time. Other people proved that you didn't have a license in California at that point in time. All he did was lurk around and listen for information and then put it out and pretend that he was told that information. It's just a joke. The guy is a joke. I, yeah, I part of me wants to do some more deep dives on SF, but part of me just finds him so damn annoying that I prefer to ignore him. um, I mean, my honest to goodness opinion is that the guy is one of these people that likes to be involved and likes to feel important, and that he inserted himself. He's nobody of consequence. He knows nothing of consequence. Um, and that he's very good at making up stories. or of listening in when he shouldn't be listening in, and then trying to make it sound like he is involved. Um, I'm going to move on from SF. There's a lot more I could say, but I'm just looking at, we've been live now for 45 minutes, and I don't want to make it a long live, so I do want to wrap it up soon. And just had my squirrels just completely ran away then. Yeah, I do want to wrap it up soon, especially because I feel like I'm kind of bombing today. But yeah, it's possible SF was one of the older guys pushing bomb rips. He's linked with Checkett and Ronnie. I actually don't think SF had any connections with Truckee until he decided to jump in on Kiely's case. My opinion, just based on his history before Kiely and after Kiely, is that he saw that this was a big case and that it was gaining traction. Because that was the thing with Gabby's case. It was becoming a big case and it was gaining traction. So he inserted himself into it. And I think that's all he did with Kiely's case as well. He suddenly realised that there was this case in Cali that was gaining a lot of traction. It was gaining a lot of attention. And also, it's worth noting that even before Kylie's case, he was kind of friends with Grizzly. And Grizzly was one of the people very early on to start covering Kylie's case. So she was probably tweeting quite a lot about Kylie's case on Twitter. So he probably saw Grizzly's tweets on Twitter and thought, well, if Grizzly's covering it, it's probably going to be a big case. It's going to be a significant case. I want to insert myself into it and get attention. That's my assessment on him. He is Crane. He is just a big liar, and that's all it is. He's the unpopular kid that wants to be popular, so he makes up stories to try and make himself sound more important than he is. That's my opinion. I just think everything that he says needs to be taken with a grain of salt. I'm just so cautious about anything he says. If it can't be backed up, if there's no way of verifying it from another source, then I think when it comes to SF, that you're better off just completely discounting what he is saying. He is a dumpster fire. He is a total dumpster fire. And the fake crying, I can't remember who he did that with, but that was the most pathetic attempt at trying to be convincing I've ever seen. He was on panel with someone and he was talking about the day that they found Kiely, and he did all that fake crying, and oh my gosh, that was just so pathetic. So pathetic. Yeah, he is a snake in the grass. He's it's definitely someone to, I mean, it's interesting to listen because I suspect that he was listening in when he shouldn't have been listening in on occasions. But I mean, we know from where he has said things in relation to Adventures with Purpose, like claiming that he went into their van and looked at the footage of the car after they found Kiely. And I think it was Doug who straight out said, yeah, that never happened. So, he's there trying to say that he had all this special treatment from Adventures with Purpose when he didn't. And they've told us that he didn't. It's, yeah. They definitely all went to the same acting school. And I swear he must have been like the star pupil, because his attempt at crying is, oh my gosh, like, it was disturbing. It was just disturbing. Yeah, but look, I was going to try and talk about some of the other people that inserted themselves into the case, but it's going on 50 minutes, and that fly is still buzzing around my living room, and my chihuahua is just about to try and launch herself across the room, and I think things are just going to go from bad to worse in here. So I might wrap it up there, and I'll aim for another live, maybe possibly after the weekend. Got a lot of Easter things coming up, so I'm not sure about, time wise. I'm not sure if I'll have much time over the weekend for going live. Oh, Kenny, hi. Sorry. Yeah, I'm just wrapping up now. I'm just about to have crazy animals going on in the house, I think, and it doesn't help with my ADHD to have all these extra distractions going on around me. So, love you, Kenny. Thank you so much for coming. But on that note, I'm going to wrap it up. Thank you so much for everyone who came in. Makes me feel loved. I hope I haven't bored you all too much with my rambling. I had everything figured out in my head before I came live, but like I said, I seem to be very squirrely today, so I keep getting distracted, and I really do need to learn to actually have my reading glasses with me when I go live, so I can also read the comments properly. Yep, excellent. So one thing is hang on, sorry, I'll try to read that. Okay, so one thing, are you saying you are going to go live now? That would be great. I'll go live ASAP, no time frame, because going to mum's. Okay, awesome. Okay, so let's wrap it up there. Looks like one thing is going to go live. So jump in over there. Thank you so much for coming, everyone. Okay, so you are going to go live later, one thing. Is that what you're saying? I'm confused now. Aiden Luth. Oh, yeah. Exactly. Kenny, I was speaking about Aiden right at the start and talking about who he's friends with and the fact that he grew up down the street from Sammy. So, yeah, definitely he is one to look at, and all his associates. Okay, well, guys, it's 55 minutes. That's probably a really good time to end the live. Thank you so much for coming in. I'll try and be a little less squirrely next time. But thank you, and there'll be plenty more content coming out soon. Members, I'm got a few more members videos coming out in the next couple of days for you. And everyone who's subscribed, thank you. I love you. And we'll talk soon. Okay, bye.